to have a really special speaker here today, okay? This guy used to give me nightmares because of how good he was for his teams at William Penn, okay? They won all kinds of division championships, county championships, district championships, and when we made the scouting report, we always had a big star by this guy's name. Like, we gotta watch out for this guy. We gotta watch out for this guy. We gotta try. And we tried, it didn't work, but we tried, okay? His passion for basketball in high school is now changed to a passion for coming in and speaking to you guys, okay? And we're really lucky to have him. He's done some great things in the communities already in this area, and he'll continue to do that in the future. And we are lucky to have him. Let's make sure that we're sitting up straight. Okay, what do we do when people are talking? Eyes, where are our eyes? Our eyes on a person talking, right? Let's show respect. Let's give Tavon Parker a round of applause, right?
How you guys doing, campers? Come on, need more energy than that. How you guys doing, campers? You guys are at basketball camp, so you guys love the same thing I love, right? Playing basketball.
Yes.
No. You like football? Well, I kind of like football too, but basketball was really my favorite sport. So, all right, so let's. I just need a couple people. What's one thing that you like about basketball? Go ahead, talk to me. You gotta catch the ball. What's one thing that you like about it?
I like that we have teammates that can pass and shoot.
Okay. You got teammates that you can pass and shoot with. I like that. Talk to me. Oh, you guys can't catch.
You can.
What's one thing you like about basketball?
Run around playing defense.
Running around playing defense. I like that. Talk to me. What's one thing you like about basketball?
I like that I get to spend time with my friends and and learn more about the game.
I like that. Two more. What's one thing you like?
Playing defense.
Defense? I like that. What's one thing you like? The coach? I like that. So this thing called basketball is like a tool, right? A lot of times when I was playing basketball growing up, I thought that this was the only thing I would ever be able to do. And then I realized my favorite player was Kobe Bryant, but there's Michael Jordan, there's LeBron James. There's a lot of famous people that play basketball, but at some point, you know what they all have in common? They all stop playing. So if you can't play basketball for your whole life, what's the point of basketball? Right? If you can't do something for your whole life, what can you get out of that thing that you're doing? So if basketball is a tool, what can you get from this tool? So like Coach Steve said, Coach Smuck said, I played basketball at York High. So we used to come up the red line and we used to play you guys at basketball because this is a really nice gym. But what I learned was, if you can't use this tool called basketball, it might provide some opportunities for you guys. You might blow those opportunities. So when you walk in York High's gym, some of you guys will be there in a couple years, right? When you go in York High's gym, you'll look up and you'll see 1,000-point scorer and you'll see my name there, Tavon Parker. And my brother's name is there too, Kelvin Parker. So we're the only brothers to ever score 1,000 points in York High history. And one thing that I enjoyed was playing basketball. I scored 1,000 points and I was good enough to get a scholarship. Who knows what a scholarship is? What is it?
It's when you get a certain percentage off your tuition to go play or if you're smart enough to get a scholarship at that certain college.
Yep. So I got a full scholarship to go to Millersville to play basketball. So that means I went to college and didn't have to pay anything. And guess what happened? I blew my opportunity. Right? I forgot that this thing called basketball was a tool, and I started worshiping this thing called basketball. So instead of going to class, guess what I would do? I would go to the gym and play basketball. Instead of going to study, I would go play basketball with my teammates. And what they don't tell you, just like in high school, middle school, and elementary school, you can be a great basketball player, but if your grades aren't good, guess what happens?
You quit.
No, you don't quit. They'll kick you off the team. Because grades in school last longer than basketball lasts. Your education is the only thing that they can't take from you in this world. Right? Somebody, if you break your leg, you break your arm, you shatter your knee, you tear your ACL, you won't be able to play basketball, but you still have your brain. So I went to Millersville for a full scholarship. And I lasted 2 years before the coach said, hey, the people with the lowest grades, we can't have you on the team anymore. You have to go home. And as a kid from the city, I didn't know what else to do, so I just went home. And guess what? They call it a victim of your environment. I came home and I started doing the wrong thing and ended up in jail. So in a blink of an eye, I went from a kid with a full scholarship, 1,000-point score, all this great stuff, and then I ended up in jail. Because believe it or not, jail is for anybody that wants to be there. So it took me a while to figure out exactly what I wanted to do, but like your coach said, now that I got this thing figured out, now that I realize basketball isn't everything, I realize that there's a lot of things that basketball did teach me, right? So some of you guys said you like playing with your teammates. And one thing, even now, I still have teammates, right? I own 3 businesses. I'm an entrepreneur. Who knows what an entrepreneur is? Go ahead, talk to me.
A person who starts their own business from scratch.
Yep. So I started a lawn care business. I have a nonprofit where we mentor young men, and then I have a speaking business. So I started 3 businesses. In each business, I have teammates that still help me. Teammates that still pass me the ball to get an assist. Sometimes I set my teammates up and I pass them the ball so they can come dunk and score. But teammates are something that you can't replace. And there's certain things that good teammates do, and there's certain things that bad teammates do. What's one thing a bad teammate would do? Be selfish. Scream and yell at their other teammates. Talk down on their teammate. Act like they're all in this for themselves. What's something a good teammate would do?
Pass the ball.
Pass the ball, get an assist.
Even when you can't say it's okay. Have a good attitude.
I like that. That's called speaking life into somebody.
Have good sportsmanship.
Good sportsmanship. I like that. One more.
Screen for you so you can set up.
Set you up so you can dunk and look good. I like that. So as a young person, a lot of times we don't realize, because we can get angry, get in our feelings, feel some type of way, and when we stop doing is being a good teammate, we start being a bad teammate, right? We start talking down on people. We start acting like somebody's not worthy of our accomplishments, of our praise. Somebody's not worthy of being a good teammate. Because if you're a good teammate, guess what? Somebody else is going to be a good teammate. And if 2 people are good at something, it's easier to become great at something. The other attribute, right? I have good teammates, but I also have people that believe in me. So I seen you guys playing 5-on-5 a little bit. How hard is it to believe in somebody regardless of how good or how bad they do? Is it hard? I think it's hard. Because if I don't know how good you are, how can I trust me passing you the ball? How can I trust you're going to make the shot? But isn't that the point of a teammate? To give you an opportunity, to give you a chance? So this thing that I love called basketball, all it really can do for you is give you a chance to do some things in life. All it can really do for you is give you a chance to express yourself on this court. Because as soon as you step in these 4 lines, you know what I love about sports? Once you step on this court, nobody can come save you. Your coach can't come save you. Older players can't come save you. Once you step on this court, I call sports the great equalizer. Because one thing for sure and 2 things for certain, you cannot cheat the grind. And the grind is how much work you put in. The grind is what you do when nobody's looking. So I love basketball so much that I devoted my whole childhood to it. So I used to have practice, right? You go to school 8 to 3. My dad used to wake me up before school so we could go to the gym and lift. After school, we go to practice 3:30 to 5:30. After practice, we go back to the gym so we can shoot. We get done around 8 o'clock. You make me go to bed at 9 o'clock so we can wake up the next morning at 5:30 and do the same thing again. But see, a lot of times what people see is they see you show up on the court and they see you make a shot. Oh, I can make it. Oh my goodness. They see you make a shot and they don't realize how many times you had to practice that exact thing in order to do it. Right? They see you get fouled and get an and-1 and don't realize how many times you had to do push-ups or how many bench presses you had to do in order for you to be strong enough to do that. But the reason I love the grind, the reason I love hard work, is because the exact opposite is true as well. When you step out on this court, if he never cheats on his wind sprints and you cheat every time, guess who's going to be tired first? right? Like if your coach says do 20 push-ups and you do 10 because your coach ain't looking and you walk away laughing and smiling, guess what? That doesn't affect your coach. That affects you. And a lot of times, and I've had this experience because there are some people that are more talented, there are some people that are more gifted, there are some people that might be better, but what I learned is hard work beats talent if talent doesn't work hard. So if you're willing to work hard, all of a sudden, you can even out that playing field. But I know a lot of people who acted like they were the gift of basketball instead of acting like God gifted them with the skill of basketball. Right, I'm gonna say it again. A lot of people, a lot of times, we act like we're the gift of basketball instead of acting like we were gifted with a skill to play basketball. And when you act like that arrogance, it's not just basketball, because we can do it in a lot of different ways, right? We can act like we're the best football player ever, so we don't gotta work hard. We're the smartest ever, so we don't have to study. Because we're so good at basketball, all of a sudden we don't have to work out. And guess what starts happening? Other people start surpassing you. Other people will start getting the playing time you think you're supposed to get. Other people will start getting the scholarships and the opportunities that you would think you're supposed to get. So again, I ask you guys, if you love basketball, if you love something enough, how much work are you willing to put into it? How hard are you willing to go? When you think you're tired, how much more can you really have in that tank? Because believe it or not, tired is your mind telling your body you can't go no more. But guess what's on the other side of tired? Guess what's on the other side of I'm out of breath? Guess what's on the other side of I can't lift anymore, I can't shoot anymore? Guess what's on the other side of that? That's where success lies. But a lot of times in this thing we call life, a lot of times people quit before they get to the success because they say they're too tired. People would rather stay up all night scrolling on TikTok rather than going to sleep so they can wake up in the morning to make sure they work out. Right, because I know what kids do. You guys like TikTok, you guys like social media, but the truth of the matter is there's a real world out here waiting for you. There's scholarships, there's opportunities, there's basketball camps and basketball teams that are waiting for you to fill them. But if you guys are so busy on social media and TikTok, you're gonna miss your opportunity. If you're so busy worrying about trying to cheat somebody, trying to make sure you don't touch every line, trying to make sure you don't do as many push-ups or make as many shots as you're supposed to make, you're gonna miss your opportunity. And when I was sitting in jail, you know what I realized? A lot of people that go to jail never take accountability. Who knows what accountability is? Talk to me, what is it? You own up to it. So accountability is owning up to your own mistakes or your own successes. I know somebody that used to take people's cars, and he got in trouble, he got caught for taking people's cars. You know what he said? I'm not in jail because I was taking people's cars. That cop had it out for me. And I'm like, hold on a second, you was doing something wrong. But he didn't have no accountability. And guess what? He ended up back in jail. So with this thing called basketball, if we can't hold ourselves accountable, if our teammates, a good teammate, can't hold us accountable, how can we be successful? There's this thing called a heart of a champion. A lot of people see, we won district championships, we won county championships when I played basketball, and people see the championship, but they don't know what the ingredients to go into that championship is. Like, it's fun playing basketball with our friends, but if I say to you, hey, I see you cheating, I know you're better than that, don't cheat anymore, and you get mad at me, and now I don't say anything to you, we're not gonna be champions. Because to be a champion, everybody on the team has to be on the same page. Everybody on the team has to be willing to work hard. Everybody on the team has to be willing to sacrifice. Everybody on the team has to be willing to do more than what's asked of them. But far too often, guess what happens? Nobody wants that accountability for it, right? People would rather, hey, if I cheat, that has nothing to do with you, don't tell coach on me. If I do something wrong, that has nothing to do with you, don't tell on me. And what's crazy is I see people do the same thing in school. Right? The teacher turns around and starts writing on the board, and all of a sudden, you're goofing off with your friend, and the teacher says, who's talking? Don't tell on me. I know adults right now today who cheat on their wives and cheat on their girlfriends, but hey, don't tell on me. And I'm not friends with them. Because I want people to hold me accountable, and if you hold me accountable, that means I have to let you hold me. If you hold me accountable, that means I have to be able to hold you accountable. If you're my friend, I want the best for all of my friends. So there's a certain level of expectations that I bring every time we step on the real life playing field. Because this thing, basketball, it's a metaphor, right? It's a metaphor for real life. And what I realized is, if you live to be 100 years old and you play basketball, LeBron James, I think the longest somebody played basketball is Vince Carter. He played for 22 years. LeBron James just finished his 20th year of basketball and he's 38 years old. So just quick math, if he's 38, and let's just say he lives to be 100, and he retires in 2 years when he's 40, he still has 60 years of life left, right? So I know it's hard to see that far into the future, but for you guys that are 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16 years old, you have a big life ahead of you. And if all you worry about is basketball, but you don't worry about being a good teammate, or you don't worry about working hard, or you don't worry about putting in extra work, being coachable, listening, some attributes that lead to a successful life, guess what happens when you're done playing basketball?
You don't know what to do.
Your life will crumble. There's a lot of basketball players that retired and we never heard about them again because their work ethic didn't match their success on the basketball court. There's a lot of great basketball players that people look and it's like, why didn't they ever win a championship? And granted, we might not know the true answer, but I guarantee you there's something in the ingredients that they were missing. Whether it was hard work, whether it was being coachable, whether it was being a good teammate. Because there's going to be a lot of things that come into your life that are fun, right? Hanging out with your friends, going to parties, there's stuff that's fun. But if you remember what's important, if you remember why you said you love basketball, I guarantee you will have more fun with this thing than some of that other stuff. So I plan on playing a game of 3-on-3. That's why I wore my basketball gear. But before I get to that, I want to leave you guys with a story. We'll play 3-on-3 and then I'll talk to you guys for a couple more minutes. But the story is about, like I said, I have a nonprofit and we mentor young men. And one of the young men, he was getting in trouble, right? He doesn't know who his dad is. He lives with his mom. His mom has 3 other kids. He was getting in trouble. So his mom asked me to talk to him. So what I did was I took him down by the bus station. And the bus station in my city, it has a lot of homeless people down there, right? Who knows what homeless is? So there's a lot of homeless people down there. And at the same time as the homeless people being down there, it's right downtown. So there's a courthouse, there's a bunch of different businesses, there's a lot going on down there. So we're looking at all these people going to these different businesses, going to court, and we see this homeless guy and he's sitting there asleep. I'm talking about like knocked out, like he's in a 5-star hotel. And I said to the young man, I said, what do you think happened to him? And the young man said, I don't know, TP. What do you think happened to him? And I said, I think life happened to him. At some point, I'm pretty sure that the young man was like you guys, where you have big goals, big dreams, big aspirations, big plans for your life. And at some point, something happened to him that took his joy, that took his peace, that took his drive, that took his hard work, that took his enthusiasm away from him. And when we were sitting there looking at that guy, I realized in a blink of an eye how easy it is for us to have goals, dreams, aspirations, and give up on them. How easy it is for us to love basketball, but because of one bad game, we don't want to play anymore. How easy it is for us to want to be a good teammate when we start the game, but at halftime, if we're losing by 10 points, all of a sudden, I don't care about being a good teammate anymore. I can do it all on my own. I realized in a blink of an eye how fast life can happen to all of us, and everything, our circumstances in our life can change in a blink of an eye. And while I can't promise you that you might make varsity, that I can't promise you might get a scholarship and go to college, while I can't promise certain things, one thing I can promise is it doesn't matter who you are or where you come from, there's certain guarantees in life. And one of those guarantees is we're all going to hit adversity, we're all going to face challenges, we're all going to face opposition. The question I have for you is, when you face those challenges, when you face that adversity, that opposition, how do you respond? When those bad things that you didn't plan to happen in your life happen, how do you respond? Because I was taught you're either going into a storm or some trouble, you just came out of one, or one is on the horizon. But a lot of times we don't even think that bad things can happen to us, and when they do, everything just crumbles. And I promise you guys, I promise you, I know some of you guys in here are probably real strong. Some of you guys are probably real smart, but at some point in your life, somebody or something else that is stronger than you, that is smarter than you, is gonna come and knock you down. And what I learned is, if something knocks you down, try to land on your back so you can at least get back up. But when that thing comes and knocks you down, and I come back a week later, and if you're still down, that's something that's on you. And that's why I love basketball, right? Because you can lose a game and bounce back the next game. I've had games where I scored 9 points, I had games where I scored 40 plus points. There's different things that can happen, but it's all about your mindset. It's all about using this thing and this metaphor called basketball for real life. It's all about being willing to put in hard work, being willing to listen to your coach, being willing to overcome the adversity and the opposition when it comes. Because if not, guess what? You'll find yourself spiraling down. One thing I learned in my life is adversity, it doesn't know positive or negative. Opposition, it doesn't know positive or negative. Success and unsuccessful, it doesn't know positive or negative. So if you find yourself start swaying towards that negative, you have to do something. You have to make a change. You have to change something in order to get back to that positive. And if you're lucky and find yourself on that positive, well, guess what? Whatever you're doing is working, and keep doing it. All right, Coach, can you do me a favor? I just need 5 people so we can play a quick game of 3 on 3 to 5. Listen up.
We actually got one down.
What's up? What's some things you guys notice about that game?
They passed pretty well. They didn't turn it over too much.
I like that. They tried their best. I like that.
You lost.
Yeah, I did lose. We did lose. Go ahead.
You won't try.
You said what?
You will not try.
I was not trying? Kind of. So did you guys notice that on defense, if we didn't talk to each other, it made it harder for us to play defense as a team? Mm-hmm. Did you guys notice after they made a bucket, they said good job and gave each other high fives? Mm-hmm. So remember the stuff I was talking about earlier, right? Because when we get out here, it's very easy to forget about everything that you learned, everything that we talked about. But the best defenses are people that talk on defense. Oh, there's a screen coming, switch. Oh, I got your man. Oh, this is my man. Right? The best offenses are the people that set screens for each other to help each other get open. So there's, like I said earlier, there's a lot of different things that I've learned from basketball, and I gave you guys a couple of them, but one thing I learned, and one thing I want you guys to always remember is, if you don't apply the things that you know, right? If you learn something and you don't act it out in real life, what's the point of learning it? It's not about what you know, it's about what you apply to your everyday life. Right?
Yes.
Because if you know 100 things and I know 20 things, and all 20 things I know I use, and all 100 things you know, you only use 20 of them, the studies say I'm actually smarter because I'm utilizing every single thing that I know. So if you know something and you don't utilize it, what's the point of knowing it? It's just wasted space in your brain. But you guys should have learned something today, just like I'm pretty sure in basketball camp you guys are learning a lot. Different ways to screen, different ways to get open. Because believe it or not, you don't become successful on accident. Right? I didn't score 1,000 points on accident. I didn't get a scholarship on accident. But what I learned is, a lot of times people think stuff happens on accident. And the good stuff, it doesn't happen on accident. The bad stuff, it does. Right? People end up in jail on accident. People end up homeless on accident. But if you're intentional, which means you're doing something on purpose, like playing basketball, like trying to win, like trying to get a scholarship, like trying to be successful, if you're intentional about it and every day you wake up, you devote yourself to that thing, guess what? It's more likely to happen. So I don't like losing. I would play somebody else. I don't know how much time we got. We got time for one more game? All right. Can you pick 5 more? 5 different ones. that I do want you guys to stick with, certain things that I might have said that might have not applied. But one thing for sure, two things for certain, I always want you guys to remember, no matter what you do, if you're willing to work hard, you can accomplish it, right? No matter what you do, if you're willing to work hard, you can accomplish it. Because believe it or not, you guys are here in Red Line. I'm from York, there's kids in Central, there's kids in Northeastern, but that's just York. There's Harrisburg, there's Lancaster, that's just Pennsylvania. It's a big world. And every goal and dream and aspiration you have for yourself, there's somebody else in this world that has the same goal, dream, and aspiration. So what's gonna separate you from them is how hard you're willing to work, how long you're willing to go, how disciplined and how consistent you can be. Because your coaches can give you every tool in the toolbox. But if you choose not to use a certain tool, that's not your coach's fault. Your parents can provide the best life for you. But if you choose to not listen, that's not your parents' fault. And the last thing I would ever want for any of you guys is to blink your eyes and you're 27 years old like me and you've accomplished nothing. Regardless of basketball. Because again, at some point we all gotta stop playing. But you cannot play basketball and still be successful, right? You cannot play basketball and still have a great and purposeful life. But it all is predicated on how hard are you willing to work. So this is the last story I'm gonna leave you guys with, and I like telling stories because a lot of times the stories that I tell kind of relate. In the story, me and my daughter, right, we were watching this movie. It was called Shark Tale. How many of you guys seen the movie Shark Tale? And I like the movie because the guy, Will Smith played the guy, but the guy in Shark Tale, he had big dreams and big goals, right? He wanted to be living in the big house up on the hills, but he was working in a car wash, right? And I take a sidebar to tell you guys, it doesn't matter where you're at in life, as long as you're willing to work hard, that's not gonna always be where you're at, right? That just because that's where you're on right now, doesn't mean that's where you're always gonna be. Like if you start off on the bench, that doesn't mean you can't be a starter. If you think you're gonna make varsity and you're on JV, that doesn't mean varsity's out the picture. Just because where you're at does not mean that's where you're gonna always be. But the movie, I really enjoyed the movie Shark Tale because what happened was this guy, the little fish, right? Will Smith, the little fish, he was about to get killed. And then there was two sharks and the shark started chasing him and he started swimming away, running away, and the shark ran into like an iron casket. Not a casket, what do they dock the ships with? An anchor. Yep, he ran into an iron anchor. And when the shark ran into the iron anchor, the shark ended up dying, and his brother felt so bad, his brother just left. So Will Smith ended up going back, telling everybody, I'm the shark slayer. Right, he was running around talking about he slayed a shark. And what I realized was, that's how a lot of us do, right? If somebody doesn't know exactly who we are, exactly what we represent, we'll go around and we're lying. Right, we'll go around and we'll talk a real good game even though we know that's not who we are. Right? But what happened was, Will Smith, when he went around lying, his whole life changed. He started getting more cute girls, he started getting the house he wanted, he started getting more money. But there's a saying that what's done in the dark always comes to light. So at one point, the other brother shark came back and said, you're the shark slayer? You didn't kill anybody. And Will Smith's whole cover was blown. And in the blink of an eye, he went from on top of the world to the world being on top of him. Right? In the blink of an eye, he went from all this fame, all this fortune, all these people around him to being a nobody again. And what he realized was, when he went back to being a nobody, the friends that he had then were still there to be his friend. He just had to apologize. Meanwhile, the people that was around him because he was popular, they disappeared. And I tell you guys that story because the only thing I ever ask for you guys, the only thing I would ever want, the only thing I ever hope for you guys, is you can stay true and authentic to who you are. Never feel like you have to compromise your integrity. Never feel like you have to be somebody else in order to fit in. If you love basketball, be a basketball player. If you love football, be a football player. If you love school, be a great academic school student, a great scholar. All I ever ask for you guys is never change who you are to fit in with somebody that you're not. I thank you guys for your time and your energy today. I am Tavon Parker. Follow me on social media. I am Team Follow Back. All my social medias is I am Tavon Parker. Thank you guys.